Quiet.
Mr. President-elect,
Go ahead.
can you state
She's asking a
categorically,
question. Don't
Mr.
be
President-elect, can you give us a question?
Don't be
You are
rude.
attacking us. Can you give us a question?
Don't be rude.
Can
No,
you
I'm
give
not
us a
going to give you a
question?
question. I'm not going to give you a question.
Can you state categorically?
You are fake news.
Sir.
I'm Dr. Dave Janda. Welcome back to Dave versus the MSM. I'd like to thank you for joining me today. Thank you for networking this information to all those you know and love. And thank you for making a difference. I know the globalist cult wants to make you feel as though you're not making a difference. Yeah, no. You're making a profound positive difference. And why do I say that? Because if the cult was actually winning, why would they be running around like a chicken with their head cut off? Right? I mean, you're familiar with that statement, running around with a chicken with their head cut off. You know, the chicken's still running around. Looks like it's pretty viable, but hey, guess what? Head's gone. Well, the same is true of the cult right now. Their operations are failing miserably. And a huge component of why is because billions of people around the world have not become woke, but have become awakened. Really important differential there, right? When you're awakened to their agenda, you bring that awakening to others and awaken them in the process. And that's why the cult is running around like a chicken with their head cut off. Because they know it's just a matter of a very short period of time when the chicken falls over. And that's where we are. The single greatest mistake I believe each and every one of us can make is sitting on the couch, waiting for a, quote, white hat to show up. A politician, the military, the intelligence agency, whatever it might be. You see, a white hat has already shown up. Want to know who it is? Go to a mirror and look in it. And you'll see a person that's wearing a white hat. You. Yeah, you're the white hat. Because you took the time to listen to the presentations on this platform and other independent media platforms, and you didn't sit on it. You took that information to those you know and love. Now, they might not have believed you at first, but then it started to sink into them. They started to think about it. Maybe they already came back to you and said, I thought you were off, but tell me more. Because what you were talking about actually has panned out. Or maybe they're not at that stage yet, but they're still investigating what you told them and finding out that what you brought to them put them actually ahead of the curve. You see, when you look at the cult's operations around the world, their words might say they're winning, we're locking so-and-so up, but every person that they continue to lock up reinforces the points you've already made to those you know and love about the fact that the cult is a group of totalitarian thugs. Mm-hmm. Everything they do, running around the barnyard with their head cut off, reinforces everything you've already put on the table and will continue to put on the table to your friends and family and coworkers and loved ones and neighbors and maybe even people you didn't even know. You just walked up to them and said, hey, have you thought about this? Good for you. Because you're the one wearing the white hat. Just look at their operation in Ukraine. Their money laundering operation, where, at least that we know of, and we know it's much higher than this, $120 billion was siphoned off there and to be laundered back into people's pockets and companies and the defense industry and you name it, right? Remember that spring offensive, going into the summer offensive, going into the fall offensive. Oh, it was going to devastate Russia. Quote, I'll be blunt, it's failed, end quote, says Congressional Ukraine Caucus co-chair on the offensive by Ukraine, authored by Dave DeCamp. Andy Harris, a Republican, remember, one political party. I've told you this for 13 years on the radio. For those that have known me, 30-some years since I first went to Washington to work on healthcare policy as a consultant during the Reagan administration. One political party, owned and operated by a criminal syndicate. The banksters. Everybody with an R&D after their name. In Washington, in your state legislatures, in your local, it's all a scam. They're all owned. Which is why we see a little differentiation of policy, but we never see any really follow through. The only follow through that occurs is when you, the person with the white hat, mobilizes your community and puts pressure on your local, state, or federal representative saying, we're wise to you. We're wise to what's going on. Stop it. Focus on freedom. Focus on liberty. Focus on empowerment of the individual, not the empowerment of government thugs. Right. You see, that's where we get ahead and where we have gotten ahead. Representative Andy Harris, a Republican from Maryland, a co-chair of the Congressional Ukraine Caucus, said that he's not sure if the Ukraine war is winnable and called for the U.S. to pressure Ukrainian President, World Economic Forum, puppet Zelensky, to pursue peace talks because, quote, the offensive, the Ukrainian offensive, the banksters' offensive, has failed. We were saying from the very beginning, before the first shot was fired over there, the key is peace talks, negotiations, but they didn't want that. Remember, Zelensky actually early on, March, I believe, 2021, has signed off on peace initiatives, only to have Boris Johnson, globalist cult member, come in and shut it down, along with the help of the West. You see, the cult loves conflict. You and I will do everything possible to prevent nuclear conflict, but the cult loves that because out of nuclear conflict, millions of useless eaters die. Us. People like us. The 99.9% of us that are not part of the cult. And out of that nuclear chaos, they get more power control and more financial resources. That's how they work. It's worked many times for them before, right? Think of the past 3 years. Can't say it on this platform because or think of September 11th. Or think of every war. Or think of November 63. Out of chaos, they get more power control and more financial resources. And when you call them into question, they do everything in their power. They mobilize their forces to try to make it look like you asking the questions, you demanding answers, are the bad entity as opposed to the evil ones that implemented this agenda. They're failing. People are getting wise. They thought they had everybody bought and paid for or compromised at every level. Well, they were wrong on a couple different counts. They were wrong. They underestimated your diligence. They underestimated your love of freedom and liberty and individual empowerment. And they underestimated how far they had controlled the system. And I point to this. A court, wasn't supposed to do this, but it has. A court tosses the January 6th sentence in ruling that could impact other low-level Capitol riot cases. This from Alana Risher. A federal appeals court ordered a new sentence for a North Carolina man who pled guilty to a petty offense on the Capitol on January 6th. A ruling that could impact dozens of low-level cases in their prosecution. The appeals court in Washington said James Little was wrongly sentenced for his conviction on a misdemeanor offense to both prison time and probation, which is court-ordered monitoring of defendants who are not behind bars. The ramifications of that are significant, right? Because it impacts part of their fear agenda. As you know, they are trying to persecute through prosecution an individual who is running for the presidency in 2024. Well, if that was going so swimmingly well for them, why did this happen? It's because their operations are failing. That every time they indict Trump, his poll numbers go up, not down. See, that was supposed to dissuade people from supporting him, voting for him. It's done the opposite, Boomerang Effect. Because people have come to the realization, wait a minute, this is like something out of a third world country. This is Banana Republic stuff. This is stuff that should not happen in the United States. People that never supported him are saying, if they're doing this to him, no, I'm not going to support that. Part of the awakening. Fox News reports California Governor Gavin Newsom is the first governor to say Trump is not eligible for future presidential elections and has asked the California State Assembly to pass a bill that will remove Trump's name on any future ballots. Is that an action of an entity that feels as though they're winning? That they're going to win the cases against him? That they're going to, look, if it's that much of a slam dunk and he's such a toad, they should welcome him as an opponent. Because it's a slam dunk win, right? That's not what they're telling you when they're doing stuff like this, folks. Nor this. The LA Times columnist floats replacing Feinstein, the globalist senator from California, with Kamala Harris, which would find a better running mate for Biden. And then maybe even moving Biden out before the election occurs and moving that number 2 up, like who? Gavin Newsom, maybe. And then having him choose somebody like Susan Rice as the number 2. Does that sound moving Biden out? Because he's such a great president. And Kamala Harris, she's wonderful. What she's done as borders are, and what she's done as AIs are, and what she's done with the word salads that she pops off every day in her giggling stuff. The fact that the LA Times is talking about this, and I told you about this scenario, well, actually, I told our subscribers about this scenario well over a year ago, that this is what was going to happen. And now you got an LA Times columnist who is a puppet of the cult, right? Speaking about this, is this a sign that they're winning? No, it's a sign that their operations are failing. Or how about this? That it's coming out that Biden, as vice president, was using multiple pseudonyms, including on emails, including emails that involved Hunter, and Hunter was involved with foreign policy issues on these emails, including to Ukraine. We identified many years ago that with Hillary Clinton's server that was tied to the CCP, to China, went to China's servers, an act truly of treason. That Hillary was using pseudonyms, as was Barack Obama, who was then president, communicating with Hillary on her illegal server, as was Joe Biden. So the fact that this is now coming out about pseudonyms should not surprise anybody. Is that a sign that they're winning? I don't think so. Because I always told you for years, the ultimate unraveling of the cult will come through the hands of people like us, the white hats bringing information, because we're all white hats that bring information to others, including you, to others, your neighbors. Not some politician that wears supposedly a white hat or the military or somebody in it. No. The real white hats are the people and whistleblowers. And the fact that whistleblowers are coming out and releasing information as it relates to this pseudonym business of not just Joe, but of the Obamas and Hillary and you name it, is an indication that the cult's operations are in fact failing. And then we have this Biden administration report accidentally, can you say whistleblower, reveals climate change has little impact on the economy. This from Ms. Shedlock. Despite endless fear-mongering in numerous places, a study by the White House Council of Economic Advisors shows climate change will have little impact on the economy. Oh, it's going to be devastating. No. But a whistleblower got that information out. The cult's operations are failing. And then you have people who are supposed to go along with the operation saying, I'm not going to be a part of this. Greenpeace co-founder Dr. Patrick Moore. Because remember, it's catastrophic, this man-made climate change. Quote, the scientific method has not been applied in such a way as to prove that carbon dioxide is causing the earth to warm. I am firmly of the belief that the future will show that this whole hysteria over climate change was a complete fabrication, end quote. Folks, the chicken is no longer running around the barnyard with its head cut off. The chicken is no longer running. The chicken is no longer walking. The globalist cult chicken is staggering. And it's about to fall over. How can we push it over a little quicker? It comes down to you. It comes down to you taking the information that I just presented and all of the content. We have a tremendous amount of free content at DaveJanda.com. But where the real meat of the matter is, that puts you months, years ahead of the curve, is on our 30 cents a day subscription side. Yeah, a pittance compared to the priceless content you get. You can sign up for a month, $9, and then let it go. But I don't know why you would. Because anyone who's come to our site that has decided to become part of our Freedom family realizes, my gosh, I'm no longer adrift in this deep state sea of chaos. I am in a lifeboat with this information. And it's going to get me to safety and security. That's what we do. We hope you become part of our Freedom family. We hope you'll continue to help push the chicken over. Because it's about to hit the deck. I thank you for being with us today. I thank you for networking this information. I hope you'll join us at DaveJanda.com. Until next time, Dave Janda signing off. Dream big and dare to fail. Thanks for your time today.